Good evening, everyone, and I hope you all can hear me well. And also, I hope you're all doing well and feeling excited to be here today. So, welcome to the Go to Market session of Spark 2025-2026. We all have ideas, some of us even have prototypes, but the real challenge is turning those ideas into products that reach real users and create real impact. And that's what today's session is about, understanding how strategy, decisioning, and execution come together to take innovation to the market. To guide us, we are honored to have Mr. Gayantha Soysa, Chief Operating Officer at Rare Skills, Rare Talent, and Ultimate Security Games. With hands-on experience in scaling teams and bringing products to market, he will share practical insights on building an effective go-to-market strategy and avoiding common startup mistakes. So, without further delay, let's warmly welcome Mr. Gayantha D'Souza. Sir, the floor is yours.
Um, Hi everyone, thanks Chalisha for that lovely introduction. um, First of all, thanks for having me. Spark program, big shout out to you guys. I was at the last year finals event, and then there was a lot of potential I felt. It was pretty cool to see some of the products that you guys are building. Just 1 second, please. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, so after the program, and then I in fact know the funding this program, come into a session. Before I start the session, I must tell you um, I'm not someone who has studied this at institution or like university. I'm a self-taught marketeer, builder, entrepreneur, I guess. And you might also wonder why the chief operating officer is giving us a session on go-to-market strategy. So thing is, as before, I'll tell you a little bit about my background so that you have a bit more context of who I am. So currently, I work for a company called Rare Skills. It's a blockchain developer education company. We do developer education programs for senior engineers in blockchain industry. We also have a recruitment company where we help engineers to find jobs in top blockchain companies in the world. We also run a event called Ultimate Security Games, which is a live hacking competition, which we started last year. Apart from that, I also run a community called Spike Community, which some of you may have heard. We've been running events for the last 11 years in Colombo every month. So some people say it's the longest monthly meetup in the country for the startup community, and I believe so as well. So if in case you want to get in touch with me, here's my LinkedIn QR code. You can add me there and then get in touch with me. So coming back to why me as a chief operating officer giving you this session, because I started, in fact, I started my career as a QA engineer. And then just like I was doing a bachelor's of IT, got into the industry. Just 1 second, please. Sorry about that. So before I joined Rare Skills, I started as a QA engineer, and then sort of worked my way into project management, product management. Eventually became a founder. I ran a couple of startups earlier before joining Rare Skills. One was a fitness company called Strive. And I've always been an entrepreneur, or rather had that entrepreneurial mindset to do things. So as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of skills that you have to pick up as you move forward. And it's not just, managing stuff, it's also learning about marketing, how to execute, how to go to market, and how, most importantly, how to do sales. It's something that everyone has to learn, regardless of whatever your industry that you are in. And then we'll talk about it a little bit more in detail later. Um, so, and all these things that I picked up over the years has helped me to, sort of use those skills even at Rare Skills or with Rare Talent, um, um, helping to find customers to do more sales. So, um, so let's talk a little bit about what's on the agenda today. So first of all, I want to touch a little bit about, the role of the founding team, because I believe most of you are founders in this or part of the founding team. And then I want to talk a little bit about who's your customer, how to figure out who's your buyer, who's your user, who's your customer. And then what's the persona, why we need that. And then we're going to do a small activity. And then I'm also going to teach you a concept called lowest hanging fruits when it comes to sales. And then we're going to wrap up the session with something with a Q&A session. So as for housekeeping, it's not really a classroom session where I just do something and then you watch it. And then, I would like this to be a more interactive session. I would like this to be a more interactive session. Sorry about that. My son is trying to get some sleep. So it's not a classroom session. If you have any questions, just raise your hand. We have about 30, 35 people. So I'm happy to answer questions whenever you have them. So I think you can react and then raise your hand or just give a thumbs up or raise hand. Yeah, raise hand, and then we can stop and ask questions. Ideally, keep your phone out of sight. I understand if in case you have to keep your phone and then answer them. So like I said, I want this to be a very much a interactive session. Can you give me a thumbs up if you are a founder with this product, whatever you are building at the moment, so that I can get an idea how many founders are here. Can you guys hear me, or no one's giving me a thumbs up? I'm just trying. Or can someone tell me if someone's giving a thumbs up or not?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Right, okay. How many founders are there? Like, can you, is it possible for you to give a thumbs up on this? I just gave one to myself. Okay, does that mean there aren't any founders here? All are, you are more like a founding member of the team. If that's the case, give a thumbs up. Okay. Thank you, ideators, for being the Lord. Okay, thank you, Subodh. I appreciate it. Okay, you have 2. Okay, 3, 4. So this is you're giving me a thumbs up because you are you are a member of the founding team. Is that correct? Subodh, just give me a thumbs up if that's correct. No, not if that's not the case. You are a member. Okay. So you all have you have a founder also of the business. Is that correct? Subodh, you can answer this as well. Okay. So you said you are a member of the founding team or the team. So does that mean you have 2 or 3 other founders of the product that you guys are building? Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. So it's safe to, is that the case with other teams as well? Else can answer from a different team.
Yes, we all are like that.
Okay, great. Okay. So um so so in that case, I think all of you guys are co-founders of the business. Is that safe to say? Is it safe to say that? Next, Ora Virakon, since you answered the previous question, maybe you can tell me if that's the case.
Sorry, can you repeat again?
So is it safe to assume ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාලා ඔක්කොමලම co-founders ලද business එකේ?
Yes, we are pretty much all the team members are at the same point right now, so we can assume that we are all co-founders.
Okay, that's good. Right. So now so when you're a co-founder or a part of the founding team, we all have different roles that we play. I think last year something that I saw was that everyone in the team was an engineer. So what happens when all of you guys are an engineer, you forget something, or rather you don't have a critical input when it comes to sales and marketing. It's the engineer who try to do sales and marketing. So if you are a company, there are some key functionalities of a business, right? So one is product development. Obviously, without a product, you can't do any sales. So that covers product management. And then you have to do sales and marketing. That's the other key component, because you can have a product, but if you don't do sales, there's no money coming in. So you're just a guy with a product with no sales. So the company is not going to survive, right? So sales and marketing is another key component of any business. And then you have the operations, right? So without running the company, nothing will happen. Yes, you can just do sales and product development, but you also need to run the operation so that you can grow your business. As a founder or a co-founder of the business, there's one common thing that everyone needs to do, which is sales. Whether you like it or not, whether you are a developer or not, whether you are a marketing person, salesperson, business analyst, everyone has to do sales. The problem is sometimes, especially when bunch of 4 engineers, like especially in university cases, what I've seen is like when 4 engineers comes together, they don't think too much about marketing. They think about building the product. So it's very important for us to work on sales and marketing even before you come up with the product or a prototype of the product, because when you start doing marketing, when you start talking about your product to other people, you start getting feedback, you start getting senses, or people are telling you, giving you signals, or they are giving you insights or telling you their pain point or how they're solving these problems currently. So that tells you whether you are on the right path or not. Now, when you do sales and marketing of your product, even before you have a product, right? What happens indirectly is it also validates your idea, whether it should be built or not, right? Because if the feedback, when you start talking about the product or the solution that you're building, and if the signal is bad, people are not really understanding your product, or they're saying, oh, this product is not something I would pay for, right? So what that does is, you don't, if the market feedback about your solution is bad, then you shouldn't go ahead and build the solution that you have in your head. Because if you build that solution, the market is going to react to it, and then you're going to end up with no sales. So obviously, what will happen is you have spent so much time and money on a building and put so much effort into building something that nobody wants to buy. So so that's why it's important, really critical that you start marketing even when you have the idea as have the solution as a concept or an idea. That way you can start to sort of validate your idea. Now, as a founder, or a co-founder of a business, it can get, I always say that, the founding team's minds is like a maze. There's so many paths to take. There's so many things to think about. So many distractions, like um, people are telling you, oh, this is a great product, great idea. But when you ask them, hey, would you buy this product? They'll, give you feedback. Then they'll tell you, hey, you should try this. You should add this feature. You should add this function to it. And if you do this, that'll be better. Can you take it to other places, like other countries? Have you explored this market? So there's so many questions that's coming in your way. And sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, you get confused of what you're supposed to do, right? So there's so many parts. So as a founder, it's very important, or as a co-founding team, it's really important to figure out who's your customer and who you are going to serve. Because once you figure out who's your customer or your market, that's going to work as a lighthouse, right? So, the purpose of the lighthouse. We have quite a few in the country. The idea is that if a ship, when the ships are coming to street, like coming into the country, they can see where the shore is, right? Shoreline is. That gives you a real direction of where you should be heading as the captain of the ship or the co-founding team of your business. So why is this important at the early stages? Figuring out who's your customer. Because once you start learning about your customer, you understand their pain points or the problem that you're trying to solve for them. And you understand, then you start looking at, okay, how is this person solving this problem currently, right? What are their existing solutions to the same problem? How much are they willing to spend? How much are they currently spending on this solution? Can you do it cheaper? How can you reach out to these customers? Because, okay, once you figure out, you may figure out a solution, with your business idea. And simply because having a product is not enough, you need to figure out how to reach out to customers, how do you get the message about your product across to these customers, right? So having this persona really guides as a lighthouse in the long run, or at least in the early stages of your business. It'll really guide you where you want to go, and how you should go about building your product. Now, I want to ask you a question. Who is your customer? Right, I think Lasita shared with me about like a Excel sheet with all the companies and then what you guys are building. Now, if most of the time when I ask people, do you know who is your customer? they say everyone is their customer, right? And they say, oh, and anyone can buy our product, right? So for an example, actually, let's do a quick activity, right? Let's take maybe about 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, or 5 minutes, I guess. Let's start, write down what is my company and what do we do, or rather we are so and so, and then we do this, and we sell. What do we sell, and who do we sell it to, right? Let's take 3 to 4 minutes and then write about your business, what you guys are work or building, and then share this on the chat. I'll give you guys, now it's 7:30, maybe 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. Can we do that, Lasita?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So write down what is your company, and then we'll take some of these answers, and then we'll see what we mean by what. Let's just go through some of these answers. Okay. All right. I'm gonna mute myself. Please give me a thumbs up if you're okay with this. Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Chalisha. Okay, cool. Let's write some answers. And ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් අහන්න, whether it's Sinhala, English, it doesn't matter. මොන හරි ෂුවර් නැති දෙයක් තියෙනවා නම්, ක්ලියර් නැති දෙයක් තියෙනවා නම් අහන්න. Okay, thank you, Nexora. How to identify the clients? දැන් ඔයාගේ මොකක් හරි you have a business idea or a solution, right? You who would buy your product? Who would pay money to your product? That's the simplest way to think about it. So you can say my company is the name of my company, and then what we do is like if I take Nexora as an example, we do smart dengue patient monitoring system, and we sell, that's the product that they sell, and we sell to hospitals, private and government. So that's a good example. Okay, good. Ish, මම ඔයාගේ ප්‍රශ්නට answer කරාද? Clearද? Clear
I
නම්
think most of that done, but the thing is like if we introducing our product for the clients, is that we need to introduce the whole product. Like, can we separate to some parts? And if we are introducing the whole product to the clients, it will take more than several months. So if we separate the things and introduce to the client, is that good, or is that any specific thing for the like marketing strategies? Like, is that we need to introduce the whole thing, or step by step introducing and get the ideas from them? Is that like the way we just need to?
You need to tell what the customer want to hear about your product, right? So I'm gonna talk about this little bit in detail. So hold that question, and then towards the end I will explain in little bit more detail. It's something that I'm going to cover.
Thank you.
Okay. Right, we have a product that's kind of trying to reducing the friction from the users. There are products. Okay. Can you, okay. Right. So, Byte Bandits, Rusiru, if I ask you to like fill this, my company and what we do and we sell, how would you write that? It's a very simple 4 sentences, right? My company is, that's the name of the company. We are whatever the solution that we do, and we sell. What do you sell? Right? And who do you sell it to? So give it a try to write that, and then we'll come back to, I will teach you how to get this across. One play device for efficient fleet management and truck driver efficiency, mainly targeting SMEs. Okay. Right. Okay. So we have a few examples, right? Now, when I'm gonna take some of these answers and then going to break this down, right? Now, let's take the last NeoCare, or okay, let's take NeoCare as an example, right? I think because it's a bit easier for me to explain. Now, in this customer section, you have mentioned parents as your customer group, right? Now, when you say parents, parents is a very broad term. What do I mean by this is that I'm a parent, right? I am, and there are different stages of parenthood, right? So if you take, there are young parents who have infants or young kids, and I'm a parent, my kid is 9 years old. And then there are parents, my parents, like, mage amma තාත්තයි. So I'm in my 40s. So they are also parents, right? So can all these parents use this product? Lasita?
Young parents.
Young parents, right? So do you understand the difference there? Right? So you have to break down the parents group who really has this problem. So when you say parents, it covers a wider audience, right? Because how you address something to a young parent is very different to how you address something to like a baby boomer parent or some like or grandparents. They are also parents, right? Because they may probably not have that problem, or if they do, how they use the system would be very different to how young parents would be using the system. So I just realized all these messages are direct messages, so I guess you can't see all you guys can't see the message that I got. So what I'm trying to say is that when we are thinking about our customers, right, we shouldn't think everyone is our customer, right? Because when you start selling it to everyone, right, it's actually one of the biggest traps that founders fall, because they think I can sell my products to everyone. You actually can't, because you don't have the time or the capacity or the money to sell to everyone, and not everyone has the problem that you are trying to solve. So the good news here is that once you figure out, your specific customer group, you can be very specific about how you communicate and how you market, or how you do a sales pitch, or how you do a presentation, because you understand that specific groups, what are their pain points, and how we are trying to help them. So let's take a example, right? Can you tell me what's the common thing about these companies? Feel free to unmute yourself and answer this. What's common about all these companies? කවුරුවත් දන්නවද? දැන් නැත්තම් thumbs down එකක් දෙන්න බලන්න, so then I know nobody knows about it. Let's make it interactive, guys. Otherwise, I'm just going to be talking and talking and talking. So
Need to focus on a specific customer group.
මොකද?
I need to focus on a specific customer group.
Do you need to need to focus on a specific customer group? No. What I'm asking is, make the logos that you see here, what's the common thing about all these companies?
Are you sharing anything?
Oh, are you guys not seeing my screen?
No.
Oh shit. Sorry. Okay, all this time I was thinking I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Okay, I'm so sorry. How do I share my screen? More. Wow. Okay. Do I need permission, guys? Lasitha?
I think now you can.
Mm. This is embarrassing because I don't know how to share my screen. Where do you see? Oh, found it. Sorry, my bad. Okay. Wow. Okay. I had quite a few slides before. I guess I was only talking to myself. Right. Okay. At least you can see now. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah, we can.
Perfect. Okay. So I was earlier talking about this founder maze, like the founder's mind. This is what I was trying to show. Hopefully this kind of makes sense now. Why I think, founder's mind is like the crazy maze, because you always get distracted. So that's that. And then the lighthouse, which is the persona. And then I asked you, who's your customer? And then I said, everyone is not your customer. Very famously said by someone called Seth Godin. He's a marketing genius. He's written so many books about marketing. If you have some time to pick up some marketing skills, check him out. And this is where we were. And this is the screen that I shared, and then asked you, what's the common thing about these companies? Does anyone know?
Wholesale cars,
Okay, that's one.
Same customer base.
Is it? Can someone who buys a Bugatti someone who buys a, let's say, Volkswagen afford a Bugatti? Bugatti is like very few people who can afford it, right? You have to achieve the billionaire level to ideally get one. What else? Anyone else? Okay. It's all done by the same company, right? Volkswagen owns Audi, Seat, Skoda, Bugatti, Bentley, Lamborghini, Porsche, Ducati, all owned by Volkswagen, right? So why do they have different brands, right? I mean, it's the same thing, right? It's a vehicle with 4 wheels or 6 wheels or 2 wheels, get you from point A to point B, right? I mean, why have different brands? Because each brand has addresses to a different market segment, right? Like Volkswagen is a very mid-level car, right? Audi is somewhat high-end. Bentley, high-end. Bugatti, highest end, right? Lamborghini may be a little bit lower. Porsche is maybe a little bit same level as Lamborghini, or maybe a little bit lower than that. Ducati is a different group, right? And if you take the person who buys a Bugatti versus the person who buys a Volkswagen, their lifestyles are completely different, right? So this is Bugatti is basically, Ronaldo level, and Audi is, someone who's done well corporate or a business person in Sri Lanka, right? Lamborghini could be so many people, top of the chain people in Sri Lanka. But yeah, so different people have different needs and different expectations from these vehicles, right? And it's targeted for different markets. One of the best companies to do this is Unilever, right? If you look at their soap collection, right, which is this segment, right? Lifebuoy serves to a different segment than Lux. Sunsilk serves a different segment than Tresemme or Dove, right? Ayush is a different segment, right? Very similar products though, right? I mean, it's the same purpose, right? Ultimately, if you take Lifebuoy or Lux, it doesn't matter. It's a piece of soap, right? And then you just have a wash. But how they have priced it and the features of the product is the same product, but it's addressed to a different segments of the market, right? Same thing with if you look at the drink section, like Lipton, I mean, all this tea and then coffee and, you know, malted mid drinks and whatever. It's all drinks, right? But it addresses different pain points and different times of the day you could have it. So the reason why they are doing this is because it's, even though it's the same product, you can tap into a larger audience and sell the same product just by customizing it to their need, right? So in your case also, like when you're building a product or a business, you will have different types of customers, right? Buying the same product. So that's why we have this concept of you have customers, users, and buyers. And I think earlier the question was also, right, okay, how do you pitch it to different people, right? So let me explain the difference between these three groups, right? So a buyer is someone who actually, you know, makes the decision to say, you know what, I'm going to buy this product. Like for an example, if you take a manufacturing company, right? They need, if everything's running on a manual systems and they need ERP solution, right? So who makes that decision? The CEO, right? Or the CFO, because they say, hey, you know what? Right now we see a lot of wastage. We have all this paper trail, right? We want to streamline everything and then we want to improve our efficiency of the business. So we have to buy an ERP. But once you buy the ERP, who's going to actually use it, right? It's the employees of the company who are working. I mean, they are the people who are going to use this product, ERP solution. So, excuse me. So it could be the accounting or the finance team in the company, or it could be the procurement team in the company, right? They may be using the ERP. And if they have a workforce, like let's say if it's like something like a large garment or something, there are different types of users who will use that ERP. So buyer is someone who actually makes the decision or the decision maker across the organization and then decides, okay, we are going to buy the product, right? So when you meet the buyer, how you pitch to that person about your solution is slightly different from how you pitch it to a user. Now, let's take, I think there was an example about, hold on, let me just pull up my chat. Okay. There was someone who spoke about selling it to hospitals, right? Now, let's take the same ERP solution at a company, manufacturing company. You will talk to the buyer or the business owner about how the product can bring, how this ERP can bring efficiency into the organization and how it can help them to save money, how it will reduce the paper trail, and then how it will reduce the errors or mistakes, how it will keep a track of all your customer information, and then how you can increase your sales. But when you are talking, let's say now um, you are talking to a user of the company, as in someone in the finance team or the procurement team, right? You are talking about the same ERP. You will not talk to them about how much money it'll save. You will talk to them about, as a procurement team, you will talk to them about how many less mistakes they will make, or how it will have a paper trail for them, right? So that, they can keep track of everything that they purchase and then have a very streamlined process. If it's a sales team, you can tell them, hey, look, we have a CRM module, right, that keeps track of all your customer data, contact details, so past, previous conversations, the sales history, all that. That's a different feature you talk to them, right? So you understand the difference between buyer and the user, and then, okay, then who is the customer? Customer is someone who's already purchased your product. They already paid for your product, and they are already in your payroll, as in rather they are paying you for your solution, right? And you need to service them in order to keep them happy so that they continue to buy from you. Especially if you are building a SaaS product, then you have existing customers that you need to look after, right? So their pain points could be something else. And you still need to, keep them happy so that they continue to buy from you. So their problem could be, okay, the system need maintenance, right? If you have an annual maintenance contract or something has gone down, and one of their modules is not working, and they need to get in touch with you immediately, and then you need to answer their problem, have a customer service person sent out to them, or someone looked at their solution and fixed that for them. So all three, it's the same type of people, but they were different hats in the buyer journey. So you have users, buyers, and customers. These are the three core segments that you are either selling to or you're servicing to. Someone asked a question earlier. Did this answer your question? I'm guessing yes. You can give a thumbs up. If not, that's also okay. Right. Now, I earlier spoke about this lighthouse, right? So when we are building a product, and then when you're selling a product, we need to know about our customer, and then we need to have like a persona, which is like a fictional or a semi-fictional, based on your actual customers or based on the people that you've spoken to who are interested about your product. You do a small profile of them, right? So that you have different types of profiles that that you can pitch your product to, and you know what to talk to them when you are pitching your product. So you understand each group has different pain points solved by your product, and we'll do a small activity, how to work on a persona. Why do we need one? Because it clearly articulates, the different pain points of each of of the customer segments in your audience, and it helps you to understand the behaviors. And then once you understand their behaviors or their pain points, you can customize or tailor their content, tailor your marketing content or your messaging so that they hear what they want to hear, right? And also in the product development, this helps to sort of meet the product market fit once you have a clear definition of who your customer is. Right. So let me share this link in the chat, or you can just search bit.ly know your customer, and then you'll get this Excel sheet. Hang on. Okay, is there a way to send a message to everyone, Lasit? I can only DM.
Yeah, I'll share it.
Okay, I just sent the Excel sheet to you. Can you share this with everyone?
Yeah.
Right. Now, you don't need to do this every day. It's only at the initial stages you need something like this so that you have a clearly defined set of customer audiences that you're going after. Right. Now, forget about all these columns for now, right? I would like you to start thinking about who are your direct customers, right? So this direct customers are people who will come and buy from you directly, in the sense that let's say I'm running a gym, right? So someone, for an example, entrepreneur. So this is actually written for my earlier startup. I worked on this. So it was I'll give you the concept so that you have a much better understanding or context of what this is about. So earlier I ran a fitness company, and then in that fitness company we offered coaching programs, and we offered fitness, nutrition, as well as mental wellness as a holistic service, as a whole, as a package, so that you're not just getting better with fitness, you also have mental peace, clarity, and then you start performing better. So that was our value proposition as a business, and we try to break down our customers into different segments, right? So this is also sort of like a customer segmentation. So who are the people that I can go and sell directly? Now, for an example, I thought, okay, I can go and sell my product, these fitness coaching programs, to entrepreneurs. Why? Because entrepreneurs' primary motivation is they want to be seen as leaders, right? Because you are a business leader, you want to stay healthy, right? Why do you need, as an entrepreneur, why do you need to stay healthy? Because if you're an entrepreneur who is always sick, you can't achieve your mission, you can't reach the top of your business, right? If you are consistently getting sick, you're not at office, instead you're at the hospital, it doesn't allow you to build a business, right? So the challenge, so that's the primary motivation of an entrepreneur who wants to be healthy, because they want to lead their business and then excel in that. And the challenge that most of the entrepreneurs have is, or the problem is, that they don't have time to work out. They are literally working, 24/7 on their business. And that's why you see a lot of entrepreneurs who are overweight and obese, or not in healthy condition, right? But the opportunity for the entrepreneur is, if they overcome this challenge, is that they can be a better version of themselves. So they are physically fit and mentally fit as well, which means their decisions are going to be much more sharper and much more efficient. And then that's indirectly going to help them to build a successful business, because that's their mission. Now, when I say entrepreneurs, there are different types of entrepreneurs, right? Different segments of entrepreneurs. Now, for an example, there can be, you guys are also entrepreneurs. You guys are founders. You're a type of entrepreneur. You're building a business, right? So that's early stage startup founders. And then you have growth stage startup founders. This is guys who are like someone like, who's built a business, and then, the business is at a growing stage. The income is a lot more higher for them compared to early stage founders, right? Or you have very successful entrepreneurs like Dhammika Pereira, or like, Harry Jayawardena or whatever, right? That's a different set of entrepreneurs, right? Or you also have people who run family businesses, right? That's also a type of entrepreneur. Or you also have the people who run, like the shops, and all of them are entrepreneurs, but different stages or different businesses that they do. Now, if I want to sell my fitness business, right? So I understand, okay, there are different entrepreneurs. Now, where do I find them, right? So I can, if I want to find growth stage startup founders, I can go to co-working spaces, right? I can meet them there. And I can go to meetups and I can meet them there. Now, for an example, or startup events, I can go and find them. But if I want to meet someone like Dhammika Pereira, this is not going to work. Startup co-working spaces is not going to be there. So that can be corporate events, right? Or maybe through a networking event, right? Or maybe you get a membership at somewhere like Lions Club. Let's hypothetically assume Dhammika Pereira is a Lions member, and then through that organization, you get to meet them. And so that's basically where you find different types of people. And channels is, how do you reach out to them, right? How do you help them to find out about your product? What are the channels that you're using to reach out to them? So social media, Instagram, Facebook, all those are channels. Emails is another channel. Word of mouth is another channel, right? Word of mouth referrals. You can also do knowledge sharing workshops, right? We see often, AWS or Google doing workshops. Why do you think they're doing the workshops? Because they want to get people to know about their product they're offering using different channels. So that's what you call channels. So I did the same thing for, again, let's break it down again. I'll take you through another example so that you have another clear idea, right? Let's take sportsmen athletes, right? So I was running a fitness business. So I can directly sell this to not only to entrepreneurs, I can also sell this to sportsmen or athletes, right? Because why? Their primary motivation, like if I take a cricketer for an example, why would they want to, what's their primary motivation? Why do they need to be, using a fitness service? Because that will help them to achieve their peak performance. You often see, cricketers not only training with the cricket team, they also go to their private gym. They also have a gym at home, right? Why? Because they have to achieve peak performance. And the challenge that they have is, they are cricketers. They don't know about strength and conditioning, or they don't know about nutrition, right? But they overcome that challenge. What's the opportunity that they have is that they can win. Whatever the sports that they are playing, they can win, unlike our cricket team. So because their mission is to be a champion, to be a winner, right? So, and now I can break down these sportsmen athletes into different segments. Like, okay, I can go and find cricket teams, I can find basketball teams, I can find swimming teams and help them to, offer them the fitness or the teams, and then you can sell the products that we offer. And how do we find these, where do we find these athletes? So I can go to, sports clubs, I can go to schools, because schools also has sports teams. And how do I reach out to these people, right? So it's not only like I go to a sports club, but I need to get in. I need to speak to a coach. I need to speak to maybe a club committee, right? So I need to attend these meetings. And how do we get the message across to them? Through sports coaches, or like, annual general meetings, or you subscribe to their, you become a member of that organization. Those are different ways to reach these people. Now, these are direct customers, right? As a fitness company as a company that offers fitness services, we can sell it directly to entrepreneurs. We can also directly sell it to sports people or athletes, right? Now, there's another group I'd like to call them the gatekeepers. The gatekeepers are beautiful, just like, Donald Trump says. Why? Because they can help you to get to multiple customers. For an example, if I go and talk to an HR manager, right? If it's a big company like, let's say, Gapstars or CTC or Millennium IT or WSO2, right? These companies have certain KPIs to achieve, especially the HR managers, right? They want a productive, healthy workforce, or they want employees to be happy, right? And employees to be fully active, and so corporate wellness is a problem for them, right? So because the challenge could be, the unhappy employees could leave the company, right? If the company culture is not strong, employees could leave the company. But the opportunity the HR managers would have is, by fixing this, they will have a very healthy, engaging workforce and will have a very high retention, right? People will stay in that company because the HR manager's mission is to have high employee satisfaction and career success, right? Because if high employee satisfaction there, or the employee retention is very high, then the HR manager is going to get a promotion, right? So how do we break this HR manager segment into different segments, right? Because you have a smaller companies, HR managers, sometimes they may not have this need, so no point talking to them, right? But if it's a multinational company like CTC or London Stock Exchange, right? They have KPIs, which is the thing that they like. This employee wellness is something that they need to address. Or you can break them by, top corporates like KPMG or PYC or whatever, right? Now, where do you find these HR managers, right? You can go to HR conferences or workshops, right? I think recently Slash.com held a HR conference, and some of my friends went there because they're selling a product for HR, and that's the best place to meet them. So how do you get to these HR people? How do you get the message across to them? Most of the HR managers are on social media, or you could find their email address. You can send them a proposal, do a cold outreach, or you could even ask for a referral from a friend who works at the company. You can do that. Now, the reason why I call these HR managers gatekeepers, because if you onboard one HR manager or a corporate with that company, let's say if the workforce of that company is 100, at least 50 people are going to sign up with our program. right? So they are opening the gates for you and then helping you to find more and more customers. But what you got to understand is typically with gatekeepers, the sale conversion time is pretty long. Or because if it's a B2B sale, simply because you go and meet with the company, the sale doesn't happen. Usually B2B sales, there's a lot of going back and forth, because you are buying it for like they're buying it for a company, and they have different decision layers, and people HR may want it, but the buyer or is actually the CEO is not in favor of it, right? So the sales time can be a little bit longer. However, gatekeepers can open gates for you and then help you to find multiple clients for your product. Now, I want to take these personal trainers as an example because one might say that, Gayantha, but I thought you were doing a fitness business. Wouldn't this personal trainer be a competitor? Of course, it is a competitor. But at the same time, now the personal trainers mostly are into physical fitness. Okay, now I think most of the personal trainers are also into nutrition because you have access to ChatGPT and it's very easy to cook up a nutrition or a meal plan. But they may not understand holistic wellness or like mental wellness, right? So if someone's going through a very stressful time period or close to having a mental breakdown, that's not something they're equipped to handle. Or if it's, let's say, the personal trainer has a diabetic patient, they don't know how to give like a very customized meal plan for a diabetic patient or a heart patient. I mean, they will give a very generalized meal plan. I guess you can customize it very much using GPT these days. But when it comes to mental wellness, I don't think that's something they can help you with. So because we as a company, we offered mental wellness for personal trainers, if they partner with us, right, we can help them where they are lacking in their professional knowledge in terms of mental wellness, and we can help them to get more clients, right? And why? Because their mission is career success and then ideally become a fitness influencer. So the segment here is we spoke about, I mean, we wrote down fitness instructors only and how do we meet them, or how do I find them? You can go to social media or in gyms or Independence Square or fitness events, I can find them, right? And how do we get the message across to them? Social media, it's pretty simple. So this is a customer segmentation to understand the types of customers that you can serve and where to find them and how do you get the message across to them, which channels to use. What I would suggest is start thinking about, or rather, maybe you could do this as an activity, right? Try to list down, the different types of customers that you can sell to, direct customers as well as the gatekeepers, and try to fill this as much as possible, right? And then what you got to do is you got to find these people and you got to start talking to them. Because initially, when you feel this, everything's in your head and you're based on the conversations that you've had, or maybe doing some research, you can come up with these answers. But you need to validate those answers, right? And the validation will only come from talking to these actual, these customers when you meet them at these places, talking about the solution that you offer. And when you start talking to them, you'll realize some of these answers are incorrect that you have written, or it needs to be revised or refined. So once you do that, you'll have a very clear picture of who are your top 3 customers, direct customers, and who are your top 2 to 3 or if you have gatekeepers. Sometimes some businesses don't have gatekeepers, and that's fine too. And if your business has gatekeepers, and then you can understand what are their pain points, and when you meet them, you can talk this specific language, because when you start listening to people, you let them talk, and then you get them to talk about their pain points. And if it aligns with what you've written here, then you're on the right track. And if it's not, then you need to go back to your product and then see, are you building the right product? That's how you can get the product market fit. Right. Are you guys clear on this activity so far? You can give me a thumbs up if it is. Also, I can take some questions as well. Thanks, Subodha. Thanks, Keith. Any questions that you want to ask me so far? Okay. Right. So, earlier I asked, are you founders or co-founders of this project? Typically, if you are a first-time founder, you spend so much time fine-tuning and perfecting your product. You almost forget to sell. But if you're a second-time founder, you are obsessed with distribution, or rather, you only think about distribution, as in, how do I sell my product? How do I get my product to a larger group of people who has the same pain point? Because without sales, you don't really have a business. You just have a product, right? So start thinking about sales from day one or day zero onwards. If your business doesn't have a landing page yet, get that out soon. It shouldn't take more than 3 hours with ChatGPT or Claude Code or Gemini to get a simple landing page out. Good night. And start, doing some SEO, start getting some visitors. When you start talking about your product on social media, you will see some traffic coming into you. See what people are saying about your product, because those are going to be very good insights, and it's going to help you to sell your product very easily. And when it comes to sales, I want to teach you this concept of lowest hanging fruits. Api, for an example, like, api amba kadanna giyot, right? හැමෝම අඹ කඩලා හරි පළතුරු කඩලා තියෙනවනේ, right? අපි ඉස්සෙල්ලාම කඩන්නේ මොනවද? කඩන්නේ යටම තියෙන ගෙඩිය. හේතුව because it's the easiest, right? So when it comes to business or rather sales, the concept is the same thing. කවුද ඉස්සෙල්ලාම අපිට convert කරගන්න පුළුවන් customers ද? Right? Or people, කවුද ඉස්සෙල්ලාම අපිට convert කරගන්න පුළුවන් කට්ටිය, right? How do we find them? So you can think about it like, okay, I can, for an example, the fitness business I took as an example earlier, I can advertise my product on the internet, on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever. I can send out videos, right? But I can also reach out to my friends and then see who's having any diabetes or overweight, or someone who's trying to lose weight. Just or WhatsApp message away. So in sales, when it comes to sales, your network is going to be your primary source of way of driving sales to your business. So it's very important that you start building a network from now onwards, whether you do this business or not. Start building the network, attend events. You will meet people from all walks of life, and that's good because you need a diverse network, the people from different backgrounds, different industries, so that you understand different pain points. So in this concept, you can always reach out to friends, relatives who may know people at, like for an example, I think I saw a company was doing a hospital product earlier, and if you reach out to your relatives or friends, they may have someone who's working at a hospital in the finance department, or they may know someone who knows someone who owns a hospital, right? You have to find a contact in one of your customer segments somehow, right? And easiest way to do it through your network. And if that doesn't work out, then you can start looking at, okay, what are the other ways of reaching out to people, right? So then you can start thinking about reaching out to them on LinkedIn, or doing a video series on LinkedIn or Instagram, or you can start thinking about search engine optimization so that you get traffic onto your website, right? But once you do this customer segmentation, you'll realize, okay, who are that activity that I showed you earlier, you'll realize who's your lowest hanging fruit, right? Who are the people that you can easily reach out to and get a conversation about the product that you are trying to sell. And once you figure that out, hopefully that will convert into a sale. And if it doesn't, you keep pushing. And on that note, I think that's it I have to share, right? I don't want to overcomplicate and then share too many things, because I think, understanding customer segmentation and then understanding this lowest hanging fruit concept will help you to get the first sale. And yeah, and I also host an event called Spike. I think I mentioned earlier. So that's next meetup is happening on 27th of February at Barefoot Garden Cafe. So if you guys are free, you can join that event as well. And I'm happy to take some questions now. කාටවත් ප්‍රශ්න නැහැ වගේ.
I have one question.
Yes, yes.
So if we are starting a company to sell an existing product, then there are some other vendors also in the market. So how we should approach, because the current customers are getting other products, but we are also introducing a similar product. So how we can get the customers to our product?
Right. Can you tell me a little bit about your product?
Actually, as an example, anything.
No. I mean, can you tell me a little bit about your product?
So my product was that mobile application for about the health monitoring, but there are existing apps also in the Play Store. So, but how I can get the customers to my product?
Okay. A good place to start would be can you tell me a little bit more about your product? Like, මොනවද වගේ product එකක් කරන solution එක ගැන කියන්න පුළුවන්ද? වෙන solution එක.
it's a product for monitoring the health of the babies.
Health of the babies.
Yeah.
Right. එතකොට monitor කරන්නේ පොඩ්ඩක් කියන්න පුළුවන්ද මොකක්ද health කියන්නේ?
Health,
What do you define?
health means the heart rate and the oxygen level, likewise the different parameters. Those can be met, and then
right.
according to that, if something is not good, then it will give a warning.
Right. And can you tell me the age of the babies that you are targeting this?
Less than 1 month.
Less than 1 month. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the question that you asked me, if there are other players who are selling the same product, how do you find customers? Right. First of all, you have to stop thinking about other players. Right? Because the moment you start thinking about other players, you are trapped in their mind. You are doing your business, right? So, right now, you said, okay, let's break this down into customers, right? Direct customers now who have had kids within the last 30 days, right? And their primary motivation is, to have a healthy baby, because that's every parent's dream and life mission to have a healthy baby, and then they so that they live a good life. Now, where can you find these parents? People who've had kids 1 month old, where can you find them?
Clinics.
Are they going to be at co-working spaces?
No.
Okay.
In clinics.
Clinics. Okay. What type of clinics?
The mother clinics for young mothers.
Right. Because they are not going to be at a diabetic patient clinic, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be at early infants or early parents clinic, right? So when you say clinic, this is that is the private government sector. Could be that, or it could be also private sector. Right now, two different audiences. If someone's going to private sector, their chances of buying something is very high, right? Private right? So chances of them buying something, or them having disposable income is very high, so they have a higher chance of purchasing your product. So, or if you think about the person who is going to government's hospital, they probably don't have a disposable income to buy the product that you are selling. So where should you focus in that case?
Private.
What's the lowest hanging fruit in this case?
You should focus on the private clinics.
Right, exactly. Right. So private sector has more. So now you have broken down, okay, hospital වලට යන්න පුළුවන්, but මම focus කරන්නේ private hospitals විතරයි. Right. Now within these private hospitals, you have now, if you take Colombo, there's about 10 of them. You have City, you have Navaloka, you have Nine Wells. Out of the three, which one would you focus?
The place where most high-end people come.
Okay. Now Navaloka, City, Nine Wells. තුනම පොඩ්ඩක් ලොකුයිනේ. තුනට වෙන්න පුළුවන් high end කට්ටිය. But there's one hospital, it's your ideal target market out of these three. Can someone else tell me which one? Okay. So 9 wells is, I think, is your ideal one. Why? Because 9 wells is only for kids, babies. There are 90% of their things are for infants, right? If you take Navaloka and Nasiri, they have the heart patients, or diabetic patients, so everyone. So if you go to 9 wells, because lamai hunga kamben etan, or maybe even Castle Street Hospital, that's also very famous for childbirth. So those two hospitals, but that's a private government hospital, right? So 9 wells seems like a better candidate than Navaloka. So you should focus your attention there because that's the lowest hanging fruit. The chances of you meeting more parents there is higher than going to Aseri Hospital, right?
Yeah.
So do you understand the concept now?
Yeah.
Okay. So did that answer your question? That
Yeah, actually, my question was how I should do about the other vendors, but I think according to you, we should not focus on other vendors first. We should focus on our product, and first we should sell our product, creating our own customer base.
exactly. Thing is, it's very easy to get caught up with the competitor products. I've done that personally myself so many times. All I'm doing is wasting my time. There's no point me thinking about a competitor because that's not gonna bring money. You're gonna bring money by selling to people. And you need to be better at selling to people than your competitor. And the more you try to find out how the competitor is selling, you're going to get trapped into their mindset and you're going to forget about the value proposition that you are giving to your customers. There's a reason why you are better than your competitor. But if you continuously study what they do, then that's what's going to indirectly impact with your product. Any other questions? When it comes to competitors, it's okay to be aware of who they are and what they do. But don't spend so much time trying to figure out what they're doing. Focus more on your customer and then the customer's pain point, or rather how you are helping them with your product. Any other questions?
There's a question for me to ask. Is it okay?
Yes.
So let's say we are trying to introduce something unfamiliar to the market. Let's say in agriculture, we are introducing a device. So the farmers, when you compare with other people, farmers, let's say most of the farmers are not that much used to using, say, high technology in their job. So in that case, if you're trying to introduce a device like that, there's a friction for them to move from their current practices to that device. So how do we introduce the device for them so that they will use it, even though that's a friction?
Okay. I'm going to go back to this sheet again. Right. Now, you said farmers, right? What kind of farmers? Because there can be coconut farmers, mango farmers, potato farmers? Who are you going after?
I'm sorry. Could I get the question again?
Yeah, you said you are trying to sell to farmers, right?
Yes.
Right. Now, what type of farmers are you trying to sell? So how do you, when you say farmers, always think about how do I break that down into the tiniest segment that I can think of, right? So it could be a farmer uh, doing different type of cultivation, or it could be you could break it down by the how big the farmer is, whereas in like, okay, it's a farmer um, who's been, like who has acres and acres of, paddy fields, right? Or if it's a farmer who is like a very small scale guy, like who has maybe just 1 acre and then he's just giving his yield to the Game Mudalali and then he gets that sold out. Or is it someone you are looking at who is doing urban farming, right? Because that's also a thing, right? There are companies who do vertical farming, right? So how do you break your farmer segment into a smaller segment, right? Because what we are trying to understand is, okay, we want someone to buy our product, but they also has to align with what we do. Like there has to be certain characteristics of the farmer. For an example, if you're trying to sell a technology-based product, and if you know someone who's doing vertical farming or urban farming, right? They may be a lot more approachable for you than someone who's doing a paddy field in Polonnaruwa, right? Or if you try to find a farmer who is a lot more younger than someone who is very old, younger guys are a lot more technologically savvy or open to technological solution than someone who's in their 70s, right? So you got to figure out how can you break down when you say farmers, okay, who are these different segments of farmers that I can tap into, right? And now the product can be, is the product can be used by any farmer? Shalisha?
Yes, in our case, we are targeting on mushroom. Once we cultivate mushrooms in small and
Okay.
medium scale.
Right. Okay. Mushroom, small and medium scale. Now, okay. And how can you get a directory or contact details of these farmers? How can you reach out to them? Where would you find them? Where do they hang out?
I would say places where they buy manure and stuff for their cultivation, like
Okay.
shops that they
Okay,
buy.
that's fun.
Um, right now, I don't get any ideas other than that. I'm sorry.
Okay. What about, you know, there are associations for farmers, right? Or you could talk to the agricultural, some ministry, or you could, because they may have data on this, right? Or you could talk to the local AGA office or, the divisional secretariat because they may have a directory of farmers, right? Or you could just do a Google search to see is there a farmer, like a mushroom farmers association in Sri Lanka, right? Because they may have a directory, right? Or you could see if there are any agricultural conventions or exhibitions or trade shows where you could meet them, right? Or you could go to, I don't know if mushroom is a product that can be exported. If it is, then you can go to export development board. So there may be listed there. But if it's something like, coconut based product, then export development board should have a, list of farmers, right? Or Minister of Industry should have a list of farmers. Do you understand what I'm trying to say now?
Yes, I did get it.
Yeah? Okay. Do this activity, try to break it down, right? The more you break it down, because right now what you have is a very bird's eye view, but everything is in one pot. You need to be able to fragment it, or rather segment it, and then see, okay, oh, that's a little pot group of people that I can tap into, right? Or that's probably not a good group of people because they don't seem to align with what we do. So yeah, that clarity will help you to figure out who to reach out first. Anyone else? Any other questions? I guess no questions. We can wrap up the session in that case. Lasita, are we good?
Yeah, Chalish, we can.
Thank you very much, sir, for such a practical and an eye-opening session, and it was very interactive as well. So today you helped us understand how to find the right customers for our products and how marketing strategies must change across different customer segments, and why a clear go-to-market plan is just as important as innovation itself. So on behalf of Spark 2025 and 2026, and everyone present here today, we sincerely appreciate your time, guidance, and valuable experience. Thank you to all participants for being part of this session. And once again, thank you very much, sir. Have a good day, have a good night.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you. Go and find that first customer. Bye.